Good morning, everybody. How are you guys today? Good. We're here about the CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Program. So we're going to have a discussion on the workshop on what the program is about. But before we get started, there's also a virtual meeting online that they're watching from home. So I want to let them know that they can call in for questions at the end of the meeting. So all questions will be taken at the end of the meeting. I'm going to take questions from you guys first in here. Then I'll go to the phone lines and take questions from there. You're more than welcome to stay and listen to the questions. It may be helpful for you. We will answer the questions as best to our ability. If we can't answer them today, I'll get you in contact with somebody who can answer that question for you. Is that okay? Okay. So let's go ahead and start the presentation. This is not going to be that long, so guys, bear with me. If you got questions, just hold them till the end, okay? Okay, so we're here for the Housing Rehabilitation Workshop. This is a rehabilitation workshop. We are not building new homes or a construction where we tear them down and put them back up. It is about welfare, safety, and health. Okay, I don't know why it's looking up working. Okay, this is a grant, but it's a community fair housing grant. So this is ran through HUD. It is for fair housing. You have rights to be a part of the program. The program has been around since 1974. It is a federal program. The federal program gives the state or a local agency the ability to grant with a grant for money that we will give to our homeowners for rehabilitation work in our city. They have to meet the safety codes, health, and welfare. They're deferred mortgages, which are forgivable at the end of the deferred payment. So it's usually a 10-year deferred mortgage. If you stay in the home for 10 years, we will wipe out the mortgage completely at the end of the 10th year, okay? We have partners with us. This mask is hard to talk through. HUD is one of our partners. Also, income qualifiers are going to be St. John's Housing Partnership, as well as Mid-Florida Housing Partner. They're the ones who are going to do the income review to see if you're qualified for the program. Of course, you, the applicant, are one of our qualified partners. Then we have Guardian. They're our inspection and consultant agency. That's Antonio in the back right there. Wave at Antonio. He's going to be your point of contact if you get approved for the program. Every question you have, anything, if you can't reach me, you need to call him first, and then I'm your second. And then the licensed contractor is also a partner in this. The contract will be between you and the contractor, not between you and the city. Okay? Basic eligibility and income qualification requirements. Okay, you gotta be living in your home. You gotta own that home for at least 1 year in your name. Can't be in anybody else's name. If not, that's the person that needs to apply. The home has to be in the city of Palm Coast. I've had people call me from Bunnell wanting to participate in the program. And the home has to have title search done on it, clear title. There can't be any outstanding liens on it besides the mortgage or a second. Anything else would have to be reviewed, and we would have to make a determination if it can qualify for the program. Reverse mortgages cannot be a part of the program. Income qualification limits. If you look above, you'll see the limits for income. It's based on how many people are in the household. Income application. If you'll see that list on board, applications are actually going to be accepted on November 30th. Today is just a workshop to talk about the application process. Deadline is December 18th. So you have a 2-week period to get the applications turned into your income qualifier, who is listed on all your applications that you got today. If you're not here, you can give me a call, and I will send you an application with the income qualifier's name and point of contact who you would contact to send in your paperwork. The next slide is going to be a list of what you would need to turn in to the city to be qualified. Funding is going to be continuous. So basically, application and funding selection is going to be on a first come, first served basis. First application in, first one to be awarded the money. So who has a completed application that's approved is who gets awarded funds. Because we got limited funding here. Got enough funding, but it's limited. Based on that, you need to make sure you're ready to go on December 18th. That's why I'm having the workshop, so you can get the applications early and get all your paperwork together. You can contact your income qualifiers today and start scheduling appointments to start sending that in as of November 30th. That way it puts you up on the list. Anybody got any questions? I saw you had one. Go ahead.
Yes. Is this just for people who already own a home?
You have to own a home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you have to be living in that home for 1 year.
I always thought that, I assumed that the meeting was for housing too.
No, ma'am. At that case, I will always forward you to the Flagler County SHIP program or Flagler County. There's different programs within the county that may be able to help you in purchasing a home. Okay, so we'll talk after the meeting. I'll get the rest of your questions in 1 second. Let's go to the next slide. These are the documentation requirements that you would need to bring. They're listed also in the application package. Make sure that you have all the dependents. You're going to need their identification as well as their school records, things that show that they're living in your home. There cannot be a third-party ownership, which means you have it in a corporation's name. It has to be in your name. It has to be known as your property. Okay, eligible rehab activities. I always laugh when I tell people this is not HGTV. I'm here to do health, safety, and welfare. So if it's a roof that needs to be replaced, hot water heater, windows, doors can be replaced, AC units can be replaced. We can do HVAC things. We can do handicap-related requirements. Say that you have a bathtub and you no longer can access it because you're in a wheelchair or that you're in a walker. We can convert it to a shower. That's where Antonio comes into play. He's going to come out after you get income approved and do an initial inspection on your property. Based on that inspection, he's going to give me a list of work that we can perform through the program that's eligible. This is just a few of the things. Sometimes it could be a driveway that needs to be repaired because, be it again, if you're in a walker or a wheelchair and you have big cracks and dips in your driveway, that could be a trip hazard. So there's only certain things we can do. No, I'm not going to give you 62-inch cabinets or give you quartz countertops. Those things are luxury items. They're not health and safety. Now, if your cabinets had a leak in it and there was mold in it, yes, we may be able to replace them, but it's not going to be with the expensive upgrades that you would see on TV. Or someone called me, asked me about redoing their front yard and re-landscaping their whole property. Those are not health and safety issues.
What about the fence? Is that required?
That's an accessory use.
Okay.
Okay, Guardian, they do the pre-bid approvals that I just discussed with you when they come out and do your inspection. They're gonna go through the house and look for everything that possibly can need to be repaired that can qualify. We will do a second review at the city and make sure we approve that work that he's suggesting to be qualified. All that work will go out to bid to contractors. Those contractors registered through our vendors process. We at the city have no responsibility except for to make sure that those bids are looked at and reviewed and that the lowest bidder is the one that we award the bid to. Now, we do let you look at the bids that are reviewed. You have a say-so, you have a choice. We will review your choice versus the lowest bid and make a determination, is it within a certain range that's still acceptable for the program guidelines? Otherwise, we're gonna go with the lowest bidder. There's no contact between you and that person. It's strictly between the city and the contractor at that point when we start the initial bid process. Okay. Bid process can take a while. We're not talking about February for this go round to start that process. So even if you get an approval letter in December, we won't actually start going out to bid or doing scope of the work until January or February. So keep that in mind. It is a process that we go through. It doesn't happen overnight. It won't be done before Christmas so that your family and friends can see your new house improvements. You may not have all the work done until May. We will award the bid to a contractor. You will come in and meet that contractor that got the bid awarded face to face. At that time, you can start discussion with the contractor about the work, but he cannot perform any work on your home until 3 days after the contract signing for state right of rescission purposes. So it is a process. It does take a little while, and if you can be patient with us, I promise you in the end, the reward is great. Okay. Let the time, contract warranty is good for 1 year. Antonio, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 5 years on a roof, right? So then the warranties will be given to you at the end of the job. Once all the work is completed, all the permits have been released, they will have to get building permits and they will get inspections through the building department. It's not just like they go in and do the work and come out. They have to get all the permits. All that information will be given to you at the end of the contract. Before we issue the last check, there'll be a final walkthrough, and you guys will be able to go through and do a checklist, just like if you were purchasing and building a brand new home, to make sure the work is in compliance, and Antonio is usually walking through it with you before we release the final payment to the contractor. Okay. Grant. The grant is given to the city. You guys aren't getting a grant. You're getting a deferred mortgage. I want to make that clear because I have a lot of people saying it's a grant. It's my money. I can do what I want with it. That's not how it works. It is a grant. It's a deferred mortgage. And the only thing that you can do, the money will come from the city directly to the contractor for the scope of work that's proposed. There can't be any side deals, no negotiations outside of that contract. Any work you want that contractor to do outside of what we have on the scope would have to be done after the program at your own cost. The money is not like a blank check that we give you guys and say, go hire all your contractors, and we're just gonna approve whatever work they say they're doing. We have to review it. We have to inspect it, not only by our building inspectors, but by Antonio as well, to make sure all the work meets the state and federal guidelines, are in compliance with our codes, and fit in the program ramification. Any changes you want made, you talk to Antonio. That's why I say he's your go-to guy. For everything, he's the go-to guy. You don't want tile, you want carpet now, you talk to Antonio. You don't want a shingle roof, you want a metal roof, you talk to Antonio. Change orders that will get approved through the city, but he makes sure that it meets the guidelines and the regulations before we go forward. Okay, at this time, you guys got any questions for me?
No, in terms of this, is it paid, how is it, like, in the sense of mortgage, is it a yearly payment, monthly payment?
It's a zero interest, zero payment mortgage.
Okay.
So as long as you stay in the house, you pay no interest on the loan and you make no payments on it. If you stay in the house for 10 years, at the end of that 10th year, we're gonna forgive it completely at 100%. So you don't owe the city any money. After the 6th year, if you decide to sell the house, we pay it down 20% every year until we reach the 10th year where it's 100% forgiven. So you would pay back the city 20% less at the 6th year, the 7th year, the 8th year, until we get to the 10th year. But you're not making any mortgage payments.
So no money out of pocket?
No money out of pocket, no money up front. If somebody asks you for money, tell Antonio. Okay?
As long as you stay for 10 years, then it will be
It's forgiven at 100%.
We, with the family view, so we are now five, or so we need like a more kind of addition, I mean, to change, to make, kind of room or at least close, the patio to make a room.
Well, it just depends. We would have to review that case by case for the income qualification. And then Antonio would have to look at it to see if it meets the health and safety welfare. We don't do too many building additions on a property unless it's a really small property and I'll give you an example. Someone who just went through the program last year, her daughter was in trouble. She adopted her 5 grandkids. They have a 3-bedroom home. One of the grandkids cannot be in a room with any other of the children because of health issues. At that point, Antonio went through and took a cost to see how much it would cost to convert a room and a bathroom in that home for that particular child. And we did do an addition to her home for that reason, because it was a health and safety welfare issue. Those kids, the grandparents were taking them in and adopting them so they wouldn't be in the system. There's a lot of factors that added into that, being able to build that room onto that house. But she was able to get a room and a bathroom that was that was set aside so that kid, because he had breathing problems, can have carpet, allergies, he had to have a HEPA filter. Those were things that we were able to do for them so that way they can keep their grandkids in their family without having to put them into the foster system. That would be an exception to building an addition. We just don't build an addition on a home. Like I said, it has to be extreme circumstances that are health, safety, and welfare. That's still adding an addition to the home. Because a patio, and it's called a patio conversion to a building, is considered a building addition under the Florida Building Code. So we would have to consider it. Even if it has a roof. Because there's heating and air and things of that nature that building code requires to make that living space. So basically you're taking outdoor space and now making it living space. It would be considered an addition. Right.
You said, the application they had.
Right. So you see in the corner of the applications that you picked up, one says Mid-Florida Housing, some of them say St. John's Housing. Those are your income qualifiers. That's who you have been assigned to as an income qualifier. Those are the people that you would contact in regards to doing your home. And at the back of that presentation, I give you their phone numbers and their email addresses where you can send that information to them. They were up there. I'll get you an application because I've run out. I have more people than I expected, but I'll get you some information. You can have my information right here, and I'll get you an application. It's on that one. Yeah, if he goes to the next slide that I have up, it'll give you that list as well. Go ahead, sir.
How are the fees paid for the lien search and the property inspection?
It comes out of the program fees. You're not paying for anything. There's zero cost to you up front during the process. We're paying for that. We're paying for the lien search. I'm paying the income qualifiers. Only thing you have to do is fill out the application and report all the information that they're requiring to ask you for.
If I have grown children, my grown children living with me, they're not paying any rent, but do I count them when I'm counting how many people are in the house?
You do, and if they're making any income, you have to count their income as well.
I have to count their income.
Hello?
The application, beginning and deadline. I read on the internet that you weren't taking applications until December 1st.
It's actually going to be November 30th since you came to the meeting, and that's why it's inside of this brochure. Also on your application, it says November 30th. It's the day that we can start accepting. That's why you'll need to call your income qualifiers to set up a time to where you can email your stuff into them and they can receive it. Or they can make appointments here at City Hall to meet with you to take your information. And the appointment dates are also on the application. It's December 1st through the 18th on a Tuesday and on a Wednesday. And they have to schedule those appointments, and they'll make it through the city, and we'll set up a room where you can drop off your income. But for them, it's much easier if you email it to them. And it's much quicker on you, because the sooner they get your paperwork, the quicker they can start going, reviewing it, and getting you approved. And that puts you up on the list as far as who gets approved first for money.
So later they're going to call us for appointment.
No, you need to call them for an appointment. I'm gonna give you the information so you'll be able to contact them to get an appointment.
So if you do online application, how do you provide all the documentation that's required,
It's usually scanned as a PDF and emailed to them.
including identification?
Yes, sir.
And one more question.
That's okay. And the gentleman ahead of you got one too.
Okay, you go.
Okay.
My last question is the timeline to completion. For instance, I have to have a new roof before my insurance renews in April.
Okay.
Is that feasible?
Yes, it is. Because usually all contracts are signed, they have 90 days to complete the work within. So say we go to contract signing in February or March, they have 90 days for that date. If your date is April that your roof needs to be done, depending again where you fall in on turning your paperwork in, is the quicker we can go to bid with your work and the quicker we can get your contract signed. But illness is on you to get the paperwork in on time and respond to those income qualifiers as quickly as possible. When Antonio calls you to set up an appointment, he may rattle off some dates that he have available. If you can't do it to the last week, then that puts you further back on the list, because there's people that's already got their scope of works approved who will be up on the list further than you to get their bids starting to be processed. So it's always the burden is on the applicant to make sure they get everything in on time and to make sure that they're able to get the appointment scheduled in a timely manner. Because this year, some people fell down on the list because, once again, the 2 weeks that was available for them to do the scope of work, they couldn't make it, and they got pushed back. So their work got pushed back.
A couple of things.
Okay?
If you live in the home, but you're not on the title or the property deed,
Okay.
you consider it co-applicant, or have to fill out the paperwork? It's like in my situation, my mother's a homeowner, but I live in the home as well.
Then both of you would be considered a part of the application as a
So
co-applicant.
she would be applicant, I'd be co-applicant.
As far as income, as far as contract signing, she would be the one to have to sign the contract.
Now, as in terms of income, let's see, it's income, obviously, and then banking.
Well, the banking information is just to make sure that the income is to verify the income that you're saying that you make.
Well, yeah, I know, but it also says if you have like a checking and savings account or anything like that.
Right, and that will be included in your income
And
qualification.
what about, like vehicles or stuff like that, is that?
No, they don't do that as an assessment. It's usually cash funds, yeah.
Okay, so just income and checking and savings.
Any IRAs, 401Ks, things of that nature that can be cash value could be
So
considered.
So basically, just like if you have a savings account, whatever the amount is in the savings account, that's part.
Of your income that could qualify you, yeah.
Let me make a clarification.
Okay.
If you're not on the title, if you're not on the mortgage, if you're not on the deed, you will not sign your application as a co-applicant. You will sign it as a household member. If you sign it as a co-applicant, and then we go to do your title review, and you're not on any of those official documents, that will raise a red flag. So if you do not, or if you don't, if you're not a part of the deed, part of the current or active mortgage, or anything like that, then you are a household member. So keep that in mind.
Right, there is a co-applicant section, and then if you look on page, I believe it's page 4, actually page 5. Okay, household composition is what it is. Those are the people that are dependents, kind of like a dependent. You're living in the household with your parent, but you're not on the mortgage.
That would be, in my case, I wouldn't put myself as co-applicant because I'm not on any of the.
No, you're gonna be a dependent, household composition. You're gonna be one of the people that's there where they're gonna need your income information.
And my information for that would go,
On page 3. It's a household composition, your name, age, sex, and then it says down there, the applicant, the employer, and then it wants them to pull any information for you guys as a dependent.
Well, okay,
So if you look at page 2, it say household members, dependents living in the home. You need to bring in all of that information. Birth certificates, if they're under 18, you need birth certificates, but if you're over 18, we're gonna wanna see your W-2s, your tax return, any income that you're bringing in into the household,
Does it just say one of them, or you have to read all of them?
all of them.
so right here on page 3 where it says applicant, employer, that would be like, my mother being the applicant, that would be her information?
Yes,
And then, again, the co-applicant not being me, where would my information go?
actually, your income qualifier is gonna ask for your information, because when you're listed as a dependent and it asks for your age, then she's gonna wanna know, are you working? And if so, then she's gonna ask you for that additional information, for your W-2s, your tax returns, and things of that nature.
Okay, it's feel like filling out the paperwork, though.
That's why I say on page 3, it say household composition. List every person currently that's living in your home. That's where your name is gonna go.
Okay, does the applicant name go there as well?
No.
Sorry, I'm getting
That's okay.
confused.
Me too.
So my kids live with me, right?
Mm-hmm,
My daughter-in-law's the only one that's working because my son is full-time at Kaiser.
okay,
So none of those are co-applicants, right? Because I'm the only homeowner.
correct.
But I list them over here on the household composition. I list my son, his wife, and the grandson only. But then we'll have to provide her income. Now, does that go under the applicant's?
It's gonna be a part of the paperwork that the income qualifier is gonna request from you. They're gonna wanna see her W-2s, her tax returns, everything, because she actually is making income. There is income coming into the home.
So that's gonna go here.
Right, you don't have to put anything there but her name, her age, and her sex, and then they're gonna ask you questions in regards to that when you talk to them. So you're gonna have a conversation with them. This checklist is telling you what you need to prepare to bring for yourself, but it also says there is additional information that may be required, and that's where the additional information that may be required is gonna come in, because they are bringing income into the household, and that affects the overall household income, which is what we qualify based on.
Are we able to reach out to these people, like, now?
Yeah, that's why you were assigned a name on there.
Fill it out, we can call them today?
You can call them today, and just ask questions of them. They cannot officially accept your application until the 30th, but yes, you can call them today if you got questions.
And then Ms. Florida is the,
Yep, Miss Lydia Grant. They may have 3 other people working with them that help with the process, so they can move the process along, because they're on a time frame just like everybody else to get these processed and done by December. We're trying to get everybody done by December so that we can start doing awards in January. So, yeah, they have other people that may help, and Lydia may assign you to someone else, but Lydia Grant is your point of contact. Just like if you have St. John's Housing, it's Kelsey Rainwright. Rainwright is gonna be your point of contact with St. John's Housing.
How do you know on the proof that the person lived 10 years ago in the house?
Well, it's not 10 years ago,
Oh,
no.
no? Oh, no.
You only need the person to be living in the house currently,
Oh, okay.
all right? So if they're currently living with you at the time of application.
Oh,
Now, if that's the case, nobody would qualify, because all their kids are grown and they used to live in the house 10 years ago.
well, I lived 15 years ago.
Okay. But no, only if they're currently living with you do they have to verify their income, that they're living in the house.
Another thing that I missed upon is that, let's say you accept my application.
Okay?
So I want to, change the roof because it's been 15 years, the roof, also, the air condition because for 15 years. So who got the contract? You got the contract, or I need to find someone that?
Okay, that's a good question. You don't have to find anybody. When we go out to bid, there's a general contractor. It's his job to get all the subs. He's bidding the whole scope of work. It's gonna be his job to get all the subs. You don't have to go looking for carpet people. You don't have to look for AC people. We can't accept any of your suggestions, because that contractor has people that he has already assigned and that works with them. that he will assign those projects to. So
You are in charge of this.
basically, the contractor will be in charge of the whole project once he's awarded that bid. That's why when they come out to do inspection with Antonio, you get an opportunity to meet those contractors. That's why we allow you to make a choice, because some people may feel comfortable with one guy more than they do with another person. If the bids are relatively close and within a 2 or 3% percentage difference, most of the time we will allow you to select your contractor. But we always are looking for the lowest bid.
What about, obviously it would be an add-on because it already exists, but pool? It's,
A pool is an accessory structure, it's not a necessity.
well, I know if the house already has it and it doesn't work and it's like turned into a swamp and it's not like,
We can't do anything with the pool.
okay.
Correct, Antonio? Or-
You can drain it and you can seal it to keep it from being a health and safety hazard,
Mhm.
but we can't make any substantial repairs in order to make it functional. We have to make sure that it's not a health and safety hazard for the home. And that is above and beyond code. That's a housing quality standard issue. You have a pool that's full of green slime, and mosquitoes, and bugs, and snakes, and things like that. That is considered a health and safety hazard. And it's one of those things that, you know, I would have to write it up very carefully to make sure that it meets the program parameters. But again, it would not be restored back to a functioning pool.
Just basically drain and fill more or less?
Pretty much drained, filled, or appropriately covered, so that it is no longer a health and safety hazard, either from, you know, the sludge and the buildup, and somebody's walking in the backyard, they fall into it. So those things can be covered from that perspective. While we're talking about rehab, I'll make this kind of a statement. Notice the word that Jackie's used and I've used is rehabilitation. It is rehabilitation, not remodel. When we go into your home, the goal is to make it health and safety appropriate, code appropriate, and to make sure that you're living above or at the basic HUD housing quality standards. If I walk into your home and you say, hey, my cabinets are 20 years old, and they're ugly, but they're functional, you can't replace those cabinets. Ugly is not a code or housing quality standard item. Same thing with a lot of those things. Now, when it comes to roofs, HVACs, hot water heaters, if you have one that's functional, but it's 15 or 20 years old, and it's nearing the end of its useful lifespan, you know, those kind of things, because the program not only looks to correct code, housing quality standard issues, but there's also affordability mechanisms that are built into the program standards. So if your hot water heater is going to go out and it's going to cost you $2,000 to get fixed, and we know it's more than 15 years old, then those things I can recommend for replacement. Same thing with your AC. But most things that are just old and unsightly will not qualify. You know, got old carpet, unless it's full of mold and it's a trip hazard or something like that, it's just ugly. We're probably going to overlook those things, so keep that in mind. I don't want anybody to be mad at me when I come out.
If it can be cleaned, it won't be replaced, basically.
It can be cleaned, or, you know, dry cleaned or steam cleaned or things like that. If it's, again, if it's an allergy reason, if there's a medical reason or something like that, then it's a different threshold, and then we may be able to replace carpet, tile, or vinyl or something like that. But everything's a case-by-case basis. I just wanted to kind of make the general point, because sometimes people will get confused and think they will confuse rehabilitation for code and HQS with remodeling.
When you come out, you inspect like the additive for the insulation that needs to be refilled, if it's 20 years.
Generally, I don't climb through attics anymore. I do my research before I get there. I'll know when the last time you had attic insulation. I will know the age of your appliances for the most part, all of your functional appliances, your HVAC, those things. I can find all of that information online, but if there's a particular issue that I need to call up into an attic or on a roof or something like that, I will do all of that. But most of the time, I am very well prepared when I come out to your home and I know what I'm looking for and looking at anyway, except for the particulars of the interior.
Okay, we got any more questions out here? Do we have anybody online that has questions?
No, they
Okay. Well, then that's the end of the meeting. If you guys have any information you need, you feel free to give me a call. I'm always available. Leave me a voicemail message. If you think of a personal question that's personally to you about your income, feel free to call me, but you can call those income qualifiers starting today. That's why it was important for you to come to the workshop, because now you can get a head start on getting your application in and getting the process going.
Are you saying we cannot submit the application before the 30th?
No, you cannot submit it before the 30th. But at least you got the application and the general information you will start needing together so you can turn in your application. Do make contact with your income qualifiers and set an appointment to start scheduling to get your applications in, because their appointments, they are outside agencies, St. John's and Volusia County. They have other programs that they're working with, so they will have limited spots. So the 30th will fill up quickly if you don't get your application in. All right?
The application.
Oh, no, it goes directly to them. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you one right now. I'm gonna sign your income.
The number for the St. John's?
Oh, it's on that information that you have on the, but if you want, I can give it directly to you.